Stockland. Welcome back in Glimpses. Uh, we are lucky we have Mr. Asif Khan Saab with us. And as you know, in the last episode, we discussed his great idea of uh, writing and publishing an autobiography. And these days we are discussing what chapters going to be there in the autobiography. In the last episode, we discussed some of the ideas, and today we will discuss more ideas. What topics different chapters can have in the autobiography. So, sir, you are welcome in the program Glimpses.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor.
So you have also been part of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI). You have been leading it in Punjab province. So what do you think? How many chapters there should be on PTI, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, in your autobiography, and what should be their contents? What should be their outline in those chapters?
Thank you very much. I want to talk about PTI also because that was a changing moment of my political career. I stuck to Pakistan People's Party throughout long period, difficult period, fighting martial laws, relentless, brutal suppression in Ziaulak period. And my short period in PTI is also very memorable and it has a lot of memories. And when I joined PTI, it was just growing. It was a new party. It was an idealist party. Wanted to bring change in society. Uh, Wanted to remove the two political parties which were well entrenched at that time. They wanted to remove them from political scene and bring a new party in Pakistan politics. So I joined PTI. I want to have a chapter. I have a great memories and great role and participation. I will like to discuss about that.
So you have also been leading Liberal Forum Pakistan. So I don't know how many years, but do you think would you also like to explain your association with Liberal Forum Pakistan and the way it worked and contributed towards bringing change in the society?
Liberal Forum Pakistan was a NGO financed and supported by German's Freedom Party, that is called Liberal Party there. And we played a very great role during Musharraf's period. In that time, we promoted democracy, we promoted human rights, we promoted all issues concerning general public in liberal forum. And at that time, in Pakistan, there was no electronic media, although it was recently started in the beginning of 2000, but it was not well established. And electronic media had a very meager, small, and short role in Pakistan politics. So, as a liberal forum, we promoted debates, discussions, panel discussions, and we used to discuss democracy and how to bring back democracy in Pakistan. So that was a turning point of my political career also. We introduced discussion in Pakistan politics, which was very rare. As I told you, there was no electronic media. Just Geo had started its program, but that was also in a very beginning stage, as well as Airby, but they were not well established. So discussion was very unusual in Pakistan in those times. So we introduced discussions on political issues and issues concerning democracy, human rights, rule of law, the restoration of rule of law, bringing back the constitutional rule. So that was a very great period. I still remember it played a memorable role.
These days, you are serving as Chief Executive Officer of Shahid Bhutto Foundation. I don't know if it is your second stint or the first one, and so I also don't know. when did you start this role as chief executive officer of the Sheikh Bhutto Foundation? So, number one, we would also like to know since when you have been working as the chief executive officer, CEO of the Sheikh Bhutto Foundation. Secondly, what do you think? How many chapters there will be needed to explain your association and your contribution as the CEO and the role of the Shahid Bhutto Foundation in promoting peace, human rights, and democracy in Pakistan?
That was a very memorable period. My joining and working, it's a landmark. Working as a chief executive in Shahid Bhutto Foundation. I joined Shahid Bhutto Foundation in 2015, and I was introduced by Fartullah Babar and Nafisa Shah because they heard me and they saw me, and they were also played a role when a Liberal Forum was going on in Pakistan. They participated in many seminars and panel discussion, and they know me as a civil rights activist that I can play an important role in Shahid Bhutto Foundation. And Shahid Bhutto Foundation and Liberal Forum had identical role in the sense that Liberal Forum also promoted human rights, rule of law, and bringing back the constitutional rule in Pakistan. And same was the principles and of Shahid Bhutto Foundation, the foundation. Shahid Bhutto Foundation was started. It was introduced, founded by Muhtarma Shahid Benazir Bhutto when she was in a political asylum in Dubai, and she started this foundation. And its sole purpose, its principles, and its fundamentals were to bring change in Pakistan society, to work for democratic rule, democratic principles, for human rights, for women rights, for youth emancipation, for minority rights, for environmental issues. This was a cornerstone of Shahid Bhutto Foundation, and I'm still working as a chief there. And we are leading organization in Islamabad. There is no competitors. We organize functions regularly in Islamabad because our mandate is restricted to Islamabad. So we work in Islamabad basically. And Islamabad is, as you know, is a center of international NGOs. A lot of international NGOs are working here on the same issues. But I claim and I can assure you that we have no competitors. We organize seminars, panel discussion, about 3, 4 in a month. In a one calendar year, about 26, 30 activities. We do it and we regularly do it. And our audience is also, it's well attended, people attend. In the beginning, it was said that Islamabad is a cold city, is a city without any such tradition and culture. You will not find audience here because it's a bureaucratic city. It's in a capital. You can find audience in Lahore and Karachi and in other cities. But Islamabad, these sort of seminars and discussions will not be, I mean, very successful. But I face this challenge, and now we are, as I told you, we are the leading NGO in Islamabad, working on human rights issue, on rule of law. And recently we started book launches also, and that is very successful. We introduce modern poets, writers, authors who are progressive, who are secular, who are liberal, who want to bring change in the society. And we introduce them in our foundation. We introduce their books, and we hold their inauguration functions here.
Great, great. Uh, you have very long and strong association with Pakistan People's Party and its leaders, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, Benazir Bhutto. Obviously, you are going to write a lot on them and your association with them. But you also had an association with Begum Nusrat Bhutto when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was imprisoned. So, uh, would you also like to write a separate chapter on Begum Nusrat Bhutto and her role as a political worker?
She was a tremendous lady. I wanted to write a lot about her because her role in politics was for a very short period, in short time. I worked with her during MRD movement, and she was leading Pakistan People's Party as a chairperson. And Motarma was abroad, and she was a co-chairperson. So I worked with that lady. She was a bold lady, very bold, and she led up from the front the movement against martial law, ruthless martial law. She suffered. She had a beating. She attended in Gaddafi Stadium a match, and there was a lathi charge. She was brutally treated, and she was bleeding from her head and nose, and she led very gallantly the movement of MRD and the struggle against the tyrannical rule of Ziaul Haq. Although she played a very significant role in politics, but as I've told you, her role was short, and then she got ill. She was not well, and finally, Motarma Benazir Bhutto took over as a chairperson. And Benazir Bhutto was a turning point in Pakistan People's Party's struggle, and she also led from the front. She also played, just like her mother, a very brave and a very outstanding and dynamic role in promoting Pakistan People's Party and promoting the struggle against ruthless and tyrannical rule of Ziaul Haq, the blackest period of Ziaul Haq.
Okay, and that's great. Uh, you had a lot of difficult times during your political journey. So, would you like to mention those people, your political colleagues, friends who stood by you in difficult times? Will they should be there separate chapter on them? The way they stood by you, they supported you.
They played a very significant role and a very dynamic role. They participated in the struggle. They were comrade in arms, and they were with me, and we jointly struggled. There were many people. In those days, Pakistan People's Party was full of ideological, committed, devoted, dedicated workers who were committed to Pakistan ideology, Pakistan People's Party ideology, to Bhutto's ideology, and they were committed socialists. And that was a great period. People, the workers, they suffered, they participated in the struggle, they faced martial law, they were awarded rigorous imprisonment, but they played a very positive and constructive role in the struggle.
Okay, some of the people might have let you down during these difficult times. They might have let down the party. So, would you also like to mention those people and how did they let down?
Most of the people they played a very important role, although there were some wavering in party workers also, some leaders also. But most of the majority of the leaders and the workers, as I told you, that was a romantic period, that was an idealist period, and people were ideologically committed to the party. So most of the people, the leaders, they played a very significant and positive role in the struggle. They didn't left behind workers and the cadres of Pakistan People's Party. The leaders also played a very dynamic and a very positive role in the struggle against martial law.
Okay, so during your political journey, obviously you have made a lot of sacrifices, and your family must have suffered. So, do you would you like to outline the moments, some themes which you would like to mention to explain in your autobiography regarding your personal sacrifices and suffering of your family?
Actually, there were a lot of workers, hundreds of workers who suffered more than me, sacrificed more than me for the party. But I also played an important role, a positive role as far as myself was concerned. I was very young, hardly got married, and my even kids were not there. So I suffered, my family suffered. I faced martial law, the rigorous period of martial law. I just wanted to tell you at that time there was no electronic media. Even the print media was very insignificant. Only two or three newspapers were significant, like Nawai Waqt and Jang. And in that period, there was a strict censorship also. So news were not there. We were our struggle that was not reported in the press. So it was a struggle in the dark, in the dark period. We suffered these days. People do suffer. They sacrifice. They lead struggles. They participate in a role, a very struggle against for democracy, against tyrannical rules. But that was a hard period because electronic media was not there. Print media was insignificant and blacked out. So our most of our struggle was blacked out and it remained in the dark in the public.
Okay, during your political journey, were there any decisions and actions that you regret, and would you like to mention them in your autobiography?
I think at that time, most of the decisions were taken very democratically, and decision making was very strong in Pakistan People's Party. Only one decision, which was even the Muhtarma Shaheed also regretted, that was not taking part in non-political based selection called by uh, Ziaul Haq. We boycotted that election that was held in 1985, as you remember, and the party regretted that we boycotted that election because as a political parties we should take part in all political activities. By boycotting that election, a new leadership emerged, a new leadership opportunist people emerged, and they filled the gap, and they started playing an important role, and the Pakistan People's Party was left behind. And that was a decision, boycotting that election. That was, I think, criticized also by the party leadership afterwards.
Okay, yes, it's okay. It's working. Democracy. Scholars, leaders, political workers, they define democracy and they explain democracy in their own ways. So obviously, surely you have your own understanding of democracy. So, would you like to explain in the pages of your autobiography what is your understanding of democracy and how do you see it for your readers?
A democracy is the turning point, as you know, that after Second World War, majority of nations throughout the world they became democratic. They believed in rule of law and constitution rule. The tyrannical periods were toppled, autocracies were toppled, authoritarians were blacked out. So that was a very romantic period of Pakistan for democracy promotion and during Cold War. But now I also want to mention afterwards a chapter, the downsliding of democracy, how democracy started going down. This happened in 2000. Before 2000, democracy was rising. I just want to mention you that in 1900, 19,000, in the beginning, 19th century, 20th century, sorry, there was hardly any country throughout the world which called themselves democratic. There was no democratic election. There was no one party, one man, one vote. Even in Britain, democracy was promoted quite later on. The women's got mandate for vote in 1926, and most of the other European countries, Switzerland and Scandinavia, they joined later on. Women were endorsed and they were enlisted as a voters. So democracy had a bad patch also, but afterwards, the Second World War, it was a landslide for democracy. The country started for democratic rule, promotion of democratic and constitutional rule that was down with authoritarianism, autocracy. But after 2000, I will mention in a full complete chapter. How the downsliding, how the downsizing, how democracy was left behind. It gained a lot and how it was now suffering and it is going downwards.
Fine. Uh, Over decades, you have observed Pakistani state, Pakistani society, the rich, the middle class, the poor. So, would you like to explain your observations, how people have suffered in the past in Pakistan, and how the poor still suffer?
The poor are still suffering in Pakistan. There are still a lot of poor people in Pakistan. Still, Pakistan's main principal contradiction is inequality, economic inequality, and the poor are still suffering. The laborers, the peasants, the tenants, the laborers are not provided proper salary. There is a denationalization, and they are being uh, out of jobs. Unemployment is there. So the poor are still suffering. There are still peasants suffering. As you know, we had only two land reforms in Pakistan, which were not up to the mark as it happened in India during Nehru's era, as it happened in Korea, as it happened in Japan, as it happened in China. There, the land reforms were massive, tremendous, and they empowered the peasants, the tenants, and they got rights, they got land to till. In Pakistan, we had two land reforms. One was in 1958, that was also half-hearted, and then land reforms during Pakistan People's Party period. That was a major event. Major land was distributed. Even Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and other Pakistan People's Party leaders, feudal leaders, they distributed their own land. They came under land reform. Then finally, Pakistan People's Party, before the Ziaul Haq martial law, again introduced a land reform that was most progressive, and that was the massive land reform. Although it was not fully implemented because Pakistan People's Party was toppled and Ziaul Haq period started, and that land reforms didn't take, any role.
Fine, thank you. Uh, there's a larger trend in Pakistan that most of the time Pakistanis criticize their political parties, political leaders. They point out their failures, their mistakes, their wrong decisions. But there's a lack of appreciation for the achievements and the contributions that the political leaders and parties have made towards the national development and democratic development in the country. So you are a part of Pakistan People's Party. You have been part of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, and you have closely observed and studied all small and major parties of Pakistan and their leaders. So you must have found that you may agree that they have learned some lessons. So if you agree with this, would you like to explain the lessons our major parties and their leaders learned over time? Do you think it should be addressed?
This is a very important question, and this should be addressed. Political leaders are negated, they are criticized, and it is said, almost a normal opinion, that the work, People's Party and other parties and the political leaders, they did not do much for Pakistan. But I tell you that political leaders played a very significant role throughout this Pakistan's history. Even in 1947 and onwards, although we had a frequent changes of leaders in the governments and frequent changes of prime ministers, but still those leaders, they played a very positive and significant role. Those leaders didn't have any corruption charge against them. Most of them, they died penniless. They had no properties. They made blunders, they made follies, they made mistakes, but their role was also very constructive. They played some role in bringing a civilian rule in Pakistan. Pakistan was in a very bad shape after the partition. Most of the shares were gone to India, and very little share came here. And Pakistan was economically also neglected and poor and underdeveloped. But still, the parties and the leaders they played some role. As far as Pakistan People's Party is concerned, I just want to mention you. Our first period is very wrongly criticized. It is criticized that we went for nationalization and we advanced socialism and we made people's life miserable and poverty was increased and unemployment was increased. This is a very wrong perception. If you read the leading economists like Sayyid Akbar Zadi, his books on economy, he's one of the leading economists and still living. He wrote in his books that Pakistan People's Party's first period, which was very important. In that time, we had a significant economic development. Our GDP rose, our education level rose, our health indicators rose, and there was many other old developments also. We had land reforms, we had education reforms, we had law reforms, and many reforms took place in that time. And industrial reforms also took that time. We formed a strong industrial base. A complex was created in Hassan Abdal, in Texla. We raised our strength in military also. And we led this nuclear program also. And that was a very significant and that was a milestone and the most significant and the major contribution in the history of Pakistan. As you know, now all the countries which used to criticize that we should not get nuclear, we should disarm ourselves. Nuclear arms are unnecessary. It leads to poverty. It leads to unemployment. It leads to a lot of expenditure. But now this nuclear program, is the main Pakistan's strength, defense strength, and that has been recognized throughout the world. And now even the countries, many other countries, they also want to get nuclear just to counter aggression and to to be more defensive.
Okay. Coming to your traveling history, uh, you must have visited many countries as a political leader and worker, as a student, or as in your private life, and you have visited a lot of cities in Pakistan and abroad. So, traveling is one of the very important aspects of one's life, particularly for a political leader and worker. So, do you think your autobiography will have a separate chapter on your traveling history and which countries and cities you would like to highlight? Obviously, you have been traveling in your childhood, in your years, and as a student, then as a family member, family leader, then as a political leader and worker. So, what things you would like to highlight as a traveler?
Uh, I started my traveling, when I was a student, and my first foreign destination was Afghanistan, and that was in seventies, and at that period, Afghanistan was quite liberal, quite secular, quite advanced. There was a Badshah there, and onwards there was a semi-democratic rule of Sardar Dawood. But Kabul was quite developed. The university was quite developed. There was a lot of research going on. The people in Kabul were there. They were urbanized. They were very progressive. They were very secular, modern, and it seemed that Afghanistan would become a very modern country. But onwards, it became, as you know, after the Soviet Union intervention and the Taliban and all that. Now it has become a very regressive society, very conservative society, very militant society, and tide has turned there. But that period I'm talking about 70s, it was a very great period for Afghanistan. Kabul was advancing. They had urban life. They had good casinos. They had good universities. They had good hotels, and people were quite liberated, secular, emancipated. Then onwards, afterwards, I traveled Europe. I traveled throughout the Europe, but I liked Germany. Germany was, it is still, I think, the most developed country in Europe, and it is urbanized and it has a strong industrial base, and it is more tolerant. I traveled in Cologne and Berlin and Dresden. I traveled in Belgium, Brussels. I went to France, in Paris. I participated in many seminars organized there on local self-government, on democracy in Pakistan and other issues. So I traveled to England. I traveled in Far East also, in Thailand, Indonesia, Jakarta, in Taipei, China. And at that time, China was getting stronger. That was in 90s, and it was in building, in a reshaping form. It was becoming a modern country, and that was a great romantic period.
Uh, Fine. So you did not have the opportunity, or you did not have the interest in visiting the South Asian countries, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives, or Bhutan.
No, no, I love them. I went to India. I went to Bombay. That was a beautiful city. I went to Bangladesh. That was also for a short moment. That was just because flights were disconnected uh, directly to India, so we had to break in Dhaka for some time. I went to Nepal, Kathmandu. I stayed there for a couple of days. It's a beautiful country. I liked it. I passed Kathmandu from Sri Lanka also. I didn't stay there, but those are beautiful country. I've told you. I went to North Korea. I went to South Korea. Those are also great countries. South Korea, even North Korea. At that time when I visited North Korea, it was in a bad shape. It looked just like that it will collapse, but it is still surviving as an independent and sovereign state.
Okay, fine. So you must have found some very amazing people, amazing nations, or amazing cities, or amazing countries. So, which cities and countries you found most amazing, most surprising?
All countries I visited, they were very great. I visited Venus. I visited Italy also. I, I didn't refer before. But most of the countries, they were beautiful. They had a history, rich civilization, rich culture. And I studied there. I met their people. We had a long conversation. Most of my visits were study visits. It was not a pure recreation, but it was planned, and we went throughout all those cities. We visited their historical spots, their libraries, and we met their personalities. In Jakarta, we met their leadership, international leadership, and we held discussion with them. Same in Taiwan also, in Korea also. In Chinese, we were invited by the Communist Party there. They led our delegation to different cities and the Great Wall and Beijing and the visit of Mao Zedong's tomb and the Great Palace. And we visited the Forbidden City. So we met their leadership also at the lower level, at the upper level also.
Great. So, which Pakistani cities you like the most? You wanted to visit again and again in your childhood and in your youth.
Pakistan is a beautiful country with a rich history, with a rich civilization. of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Gandhara. All cities are beautiful. The Indus Valley is beautiful. Throughout the Indus Valley, I like all cities, right from Peshawar to Karachi and to Balochistan also. I visited many. I visited Quetta, Lasbela. I visited many cities, and all cities are my favorite. I can't define any city, but as I've told you, I love this rich civilization, this Harappan civilization, Mohenjo-daro, which was very rich in culture, and this was admired throughout the world by all the historians, and it resisted foreign invasion. It fought against foreign invasion. Even Alexander had a very difficult time in this area, in our this civilization, in our cities. He met a very strong resistance by Poru. We call it Porus, but actually it's a Poru. It was a tribe. It was a big tribe, fighting tribe. They resisted Alexander. They fought against him. They rather defeated him. Morally, he was successful. Morally, he was successful, and Alexander was defeated here.
Okay, fine. So you traveled a lot inside and outside Pakistan. So would you like to explain in your autobiography how did this lot of traveling change your thinking?
Traveling is a sort of a learning. When you travel, you love their people, their culture, their heritage, their language, their living. So traveling really changed you. You change you. But I changed my opinion by reading a lot, by reading extensively, voraciously, new books and new changes and things. As I've told you before, that I was a diehard, I'm still a diehard committed Democrat. But now, as I've told you before, the democracy is downsizing, downsliding, it is shrinking, and now it's an age of against. I don't say it finally, but it seems the age of autocracy, authoritarianism. Now, as you know, that the negotiation and the peace treaties are being held by autocrats, by authoritarian powers. Previously, this important role was played by UNO, were played by the leading democratic countries of Western. But now they have a very little role, insignificant role. The authoritarians, autocrats, they are playing the leading role in resolving international issues, resolving the disputes between independent countries. The UNO, which was considered to be a greatest body for a democratic country to resolve issues, conflict issues, resolve, but now they are being neglected and they have very little role in promoting peace and resolving different issues.
You must have during your foreign visits, you must have met many foreign leaders. So do you think there should be a separate chapter on your meetings with foreign leaders?
I want to be frank, I didn't have much meetings with the leading personalities, but we have a meeting with the rulers there, the B grade rulers or the second tier of government. Especially in Indonesia, we happen to be the top tier, and in China, we met second tier. In Korea, also we met their second tier, but their second tier is also very much qualified, and they know more about politics and more about their country and more about their issues. They are not, promoted wrong by wrong method. They're the genuine, authentic people. The second tier of leadership was also much inspiring, and they also knew much.
Okay, how would you like to close your autobiography? Would you like to give a message of hope and optimism in the closing chapter?
Definitely, the things are moving in the right direction. And although wars are still going on, conflicts are still going on, Even after Second World War, this has not been closed. But still, the majority of community of international nations, they believe in democracy, they believe in rule of law, they believe in tolerance, they believe in prosperity, they believe in uplifting their public and their living standards. And there's still a lot of hope that this world, as you know, now the world is changed. Now, international artificial intelligence is bringing a massive change in society, industrial development, technological development, and these all developments are trying to put the conflicts on the side and to bring hope and ray of bright future in history of nations.
Who will you dedicate your book to?
Uh, I uh, I will dedicate my book to Shaheed Mukarma Benazir Bhutto because she was, although I started my political career as a follower of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, but that time I was quite young, and during Shaheed's Bhutto's period, that was a turning point. I shaped my political career. I changed my opinions, and I was strictly under the discipline of Pakistan People's Party under her command, and she played a very important and prominent role in uh, changing my life and changing my view and changing my opinions.
Okay, fine. So, which personalities do you have in mind from whom you might ask one to write the foreword or preface for your book?
Definitely, there are many personalities that are still living and still very important. I will like Itazaz Hassan. He's a dynamic leader, scholar, intellectual. He's written a beautiful book on Indus Saga, and that book is considered to be one of the best book written by Pakistan People's Party leaders, and the best book otherwise also. He was my ideal during my student days and my days when I was trying to build my career. And there are other also leftist leaders. Abid Hassan Manto is there, the socialist leader. He's still living legend. He's in 90s. He played a very important role in changing the system and struggling. And I would like him also, if he gets time, to write forward on my book. And there are many other people. I will discuss it later. Faratullah Babar is there. Then Pakistan People's Party leaderships are also there. Nafisa Shah, she's a scholar, writer of books, and Pakistan People's Party, a wise and sane voice. I will try to contact her also.
Okay, let's imagine that you have completed writing your book. It is published now. It is open in the market, and you are going to launch it. So you are organizing its launching ceremony. So what will be the venue?
Uh, I will launch it from Shahid Bhutto Forum, and that will be in Islamabad, in Zebis University, created by Pakistan People's Party. And I'll invite the top leaders of Pakistan People's Party and other scholars, intellectuals also. Let's see who's available, but I'll try to contact the national leaders uh, for launching of a book.
Who can be the chief guest? Have you thought?
I'll invite Balawal Bhutto if he's available, then Asfa Bhutto if she's available, and I'll try to invite the other leaders also, Tazaz, as I told you, Abir Hassan Manto Saab, and other the leaders who have played an important role in my struggle and bringing in change in my ideology and in providing me leadership.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed, and I hope you also enjoyed the outline, the chapter titles, the contents of the upcoming autobiography of a well known, famous political leader, political worker, and we are going to have a lot of insight into Pakistan's political journey, political development, change, political failures, successes, a lot in foreign policy, in our domestic issues. And in fact, I am waiting when Asif Khan Saab's autobiography comes out, and I would love to read it. So, thank you for being with us. See you next in the next episode. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Today, I think it was fine.